Hello everyone and welcome to the Desmond YouTube channel. This is the first podcast episode which I will separate into its own category on the channel, and I'm looking forward to making more. I do have my second guest lined up, which is a ex-professional boxer who's going to come on and talk a little bit about his story and a little bit of background information on what it was like competing and see where it goes. But for this evening I've got my first guest, which is Sam. Sam is a lifelong friend of mine who has used his hobby and his love of skateboarding and turned it into his own business, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's going to come on and talk a little bit about his inspirations and how he got started, maybe a bit of the highs and the lows, and we'll go from there. So anybody in the skateboarding community that is thinking about doing the same thing, then this would be hopefully quite beneficial for you. Thank you very much for watching and hopefully you enjoy the episode. Cheers now, bye.
Oh, this fun. So it always happens, I go somewhere with my beanie on. Get my beanie. I go somewhere with my beanie on.
Yeah.
And I'm unloading the van or whatever, and I'm getting all the stuff out, and kids who don't know who I am, they've never seen me before, they're like, he's got hair. The assumption is everyone's got hair, and I'm doing a bit this, and then I'm getting a bit hot, like carrying all the gear out the van, and I go like this, and they all just stand laughing. I was unloading all my gear into the hall, and all these kids were just laughing, and I was like, I know exactly why they're laughing, because it was like I took the hat off and I reappeared in view of these people and they were just giggling. And it's like, oh my god, I'm that bald guy that like...
I think you wear it well though.
I'm like the Homer Simpson, like the joke, like him being bald is like a part of the joke, I guess. Yeah, I'm just gonna rock it, roll with it. Confidence.
I knew to, mate.
Don't worry.
My hairline's proper going.
Nah, it's good.
Yeah!
You need some of that powder. They do that powder.
Fucking sprinkle some stuff on there. I'll have to get some for you as well.
But it's a curse, but it's not a curse if you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The curse is the worry. And
But do you worry when you look in the mirror and you're like...
I opt out. That's why I shave it. I could grow some hair.
I need to be more of a man and shave
I
it.
could grow it, but I just lop it off because I just think I'm gonna define this. I'm not gonna let it define what it is. I define what it is by having none.
Should we turn this video into like a...
Bald promotion
video, yeah?
Yeah, we got some recommendations for some Turkish...
Sam and Des go
Turkish,
to Turkey.
what do you call them? Yeah, places where you can get your hair plugs. I don't know.
Happy days. Well, there we go. We'll start us off. So, Sam, yeah, thank you very much for coming over today, mate, and shedding a bit of light on what it is that you do.
No problem.
Look at you acting very professional.
Just relaxed with my friend.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've known Sam pretty much most of my life. Well, we have to go back. I think we've actually got videos of being in the same nursery together. I've got like VHS.
Did we both go to the same nursery?
Yeah, the one down from...
The Mython?
From top of Getty Gear, down the bottom.
No, I went to the one in Cascade by the football pitch.
I swear I've got a video of you.
I went to the Welsh nursery.
I don't even know if I'm still recording, mate. I think that is still recording.
Yeah, that's the pause. This is...
Yeah. Yeah, you went to the nursery one, did you?
I went to the Welsh one.
Bloody hell. Well, I'll scratch that off the record.
But we both went to like from actual school onwards.
Yeah.
We were both in the same primary school, and then you left actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can remember your bowl haircut, mate.
Really? I don't know. I know I had one. Yeah.
You had like the thickest hair back in the day.
Just sort of 90s tragedy, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate.
It's come back though. It's come and gone. The mushroom. This guy called it the mushroom haircut.
Did your mother just put a bowl over your head and then cut it?
I don't even know. I was too young. I think I was... How old were we? 4? Because from...
young.
Yeah. I don't remember having that when I started to care about how I looked.
Yeah.
And you care when you're about 8 or something, don't you? So I don't actually know. I must have been young though.
Oh, like I said, mate, you rock it well, don't you?
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
So I've known Sam, like I said, pretty much most of my life, and I eventually moved from the area that I live in now up towards Brecon. And when I lived in Brecon, we sort of lost touch a little bit and reconnected over Facebook. And
yeah,
pretty much leads us to where we are now. And I've actually jumped back on the skateboard with yourself a little bit, Sam, and I've gone to a couple of skate parks and had a little ride around and getting a bit of nostalgia from it. But if you'd like to give a little background on what it is that you actually do, mate.
Yeah, so I like run a skateboarding kind of coaching service. So I teach people how to skateboard, which is increasingly becoming more common across the UK and the world, I guess. I got into this a few years ago. I saw my background as children's services, working with people typically with issues in their families, on their lives, you know. And I think I started to see that there was a big need for like kids to have positive things in their lives, you know. They don't enjoy school, they don't really have a good home life and stuff. And communities, there's a lot of communities that have just been in perpetual kind of state of neglect, let's say, and having like social problems in the area. So I was like, well, I love skateboarding, and I thought, and I knew that skateboard coaching existed on like a one-to-one basis, you know. If you know, typically people who've got money to send their kids to clubs, you know, piano lessons or something, but it was like the skateboarding version, or I will spend X amount of money for our child to have lessons. But I thought, actually, I want to apply this in the community, and basically we can get the local councils and governments to support this, to fund this, but you know, to book me. And I knew that was a thing that they did with other sports, you know. They'll hire people to come and do things in their local youth clubs. So I thought, well, I'll try and do the skateboarding version of that. And it's kicked off like pretty well. So I go to schools, youth clubs, I work with councils, events, summer holiday schemes, and also private groups, and I just teach kids how to skate.
What do you think's been the most rewarding part of your journey, making your own business and taking it forward?
I almost think of it in two halves. Like, I love business, and I love the business side of it. It's really exciting, like getting work coming in and being able to do what I love and make money and a living from it. So that's been really exciting, is just growing a business. I think even something as simple as buying a van, and being able to justify buying a van, which is a cost, but knowing that buying a van works, I can make that work, you know, financially. That was amazing. Buying a van was really cool. And I think just on a human level, like, again, all the kids, like reaching kids who wouldn't have tried skateboarding, they wouldn't have tried, maybe they would never even tried any alternative sports. And they haven't really taken to the conventional mainstream sports of, you know, football, rugby, cricket, whatever. They're not interested, and they found skateboarding. There's quite a few kids like that who skateboarding is just it's the only thing, and they love it, and I got some kids who are really good at it. And second to that is that we've got in this area, we've got this little crew of kids now who are like best friends. And they met because of skateboarding. They met because of coming to my lessons, and I created like a WhatsApp group for their parents, for their kids to connect outside of my lessons. So the parents are all friends now. The parents have made their own friendship groups, and they've got their own WhatsApp groups and stuff going on, and they hang out with each other's houses. The kids are friends, and they meet up for skates and stuff, like outside of my, you know, my practices, my business, my lessons. So that's also a big one for me. I'm like, actually, it's not just about skateboarding, it's about the greater thing of like impacting people in a positive way, and like making people happy, you know, connecting with friends and making friends and fulfilling their lives, I guess. I don't know.
When did you get the idea of starting it though?
I was like still in my old job. I was working for the local council children's services, like working with families and stuff, and it started going a bit awry. There was lots of changes going on in my team, and I wasn't really very happy about it. And I think I was thinking about this business even when I was happy in my job. So then when the job became less comfortable, less happy, and it looked like it wasn't going the way I wanted, I was like, okay, I'm going in on this skateboarding thing. This is because I wanted to do it anyway, but then push came to shove, and it was like, okay, I'm doing it. I really want this. So it was about 2.5 years ago. I quit my job, to just do it. But yeah, the idea sort of came to me. It was through an opportunity of a friend, and we were talking about this earlier about being a yes man. Like, a friend of mine runs a company who does. They do like bike displays at events, so they'll set up big ramps and do backflips off this stuff, and he does like flatland BMX, so like break dance on a bike, you know, spinning around on the one wheel and all sorts of stuff going on. And he needed one of the councils he works with wanted skateboarding like coaching, so I wasn't even qualified to do this or anything. I'd never done it before, but he just said, can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. They supplied all the skateboards, and I had to go. I just had to go. I didn't know if I was going to be good at it. I didn't know if I'd enjoy it. And I got paid pretty well for the job. I think I got paid like twice what I normally would get in a day, like double my normal day in my normal job. And I was like, wow, that's insane. Like, I didn't realize this kind of industry was a thing, you know? And so I was like, well, I can do this. He does it with bikes, and he predominantly just does bikes, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I can do skateboarding. Like, skate parks, we're already offering this in the South Wales area anyway, where you can go and bring your child to that skate park for lessons. But I thought I will be the outreach version of that. I will bring the van with 15 skateboards and all the pads and helmets to wherever they want me, and I'll reach those communities where they don't have anything. Like in the city, they're gonna have all the opportunities going, but you go in the sticks areas where there's nothing going on. You know, I wanted to reach those areas, and I thought I was pretty confident that councils in those areas would want to bring those alternatives.
Yeah.
And, well, they did. So it worked out, yeah.
It's amazing, because, like, when I actually left from this area and when I came back, you know, me and you sort of stayed in touch a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then when I started seeing the things that you were doing on social media with the kids and teaching, and it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, bud.
Awesome.
Ethan, worth mentioning that you were... So... Ethan, for reference, was one of the best skateboarders. Like, in our little village where we lived, you and your brother were the skateboarders, and they had all the gear and all the cool stuff, and you were skating before me. You could do ollies and stuff, and I was like, whoa, you know?
Yeah, but I got the skate park with you now, and I'm like...
When we were kids, you were like... I think I remember you doing grinds and stuff. Yeah, it was good. It was cool.
Yeah, but when I got to the skate park, you know, I'm like, oh my God.
But it's cool. It's quite cool how skateboarding, and this is quite common among skateboarding, is like, you can stop skating for years, but you'll always still identify with it. And I think you do. You bought a skateboard. You've come along. You still are interested. Like,
I still dress sort of skatery as well. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You got
still like wear Vans and like, you know, the t-shirts and everything. I find it more comfortable as well.
And I think that touches on what I was saying about what my impact, what I'm proud of, what I've done is. Like, it's about identity. Like, there's a little bit of your identity that's still skateboarding. It might be 5%. Like, you know. And some of the people I work with, I'm helping them create an identity of who they are and what they enjoy and who their friends are. So it's not just about what they're able to do on the board. It's also, they're a skater when they're in class, when they're walking on the street, when they're, you know, doing their maths homework. They're still a skateboarder. Even though they're not on the board, they've got that identity now. And it's kind of like quite confirming for people, I think, to have a positive identity.
Do you feel like you brought quite a lot of kids in like your local area back towards it more than...
Yeah, I think a lot of the other skaters like my age who've been around for years, you know, we've seen it go from there's absolutely zero people under the age of 20 who are interested in skateboarding to now there's like a lot of kids. Like, and a big part of that is the Olympics and just general swings of the trend anyway. But yeah, most of the kids who are skating in this area maybe either started with my lessons or have later become involved with my lessons, which is really cool. You know, I'm not going to say it's all because of my work, but yeah, I think I've had a decent impact.
I think when like rollerblading and scootering, that was like peak, wasn't it? You know, the last, was it about 5 or 6 years ago? Scootering's been, and it still is, I would say it still dominates. Yeah, it's more dominated, but it's less. Most of the kids in scootering are not hardcore. Yeah. And then you have got a hardcore for sure, like people who are doing crazy tricks and stuff, whatever, they're really into it. But most kids on scooters in the skate parks are just riding back and forth. In the same way, like kids who ride bikes in the local estate aren't bikers, they just ride a bike around. But yeah, skaters tend to be quite hardcore, I would say. They're more into it than just like a casual little thing. They they want to be doing stuff, you know. Do you ever have moments though where, you know, your job and your hobby that you love sort of get a bit too much of it, or do you ever feel like you could fall out of love of it? No, I think there's an element of pressure. Like I get a little bit of performance anxiety with my work sometimes. Like, but it's not so. I'll never fall out of love with skateboarding, and I don't think I'll ever fall out of love with teaching it and helping people enjoy it, because I get the same satisfaction when I help someone learn stuff as I do when I've learned a new thing. It's the same feeling. It's because I guess I share that feeling with them. It's like vicarious, you know. Yeah, I get a little bit of performance anxiety, and sometimes I'm like, a little bit avoidant. I'm like, I wish I didn't have that lesson because I'm
feeling a bit like anxious about like, is it going to be good? Like, are people going to be impressed with the lesson? Will they be happy with? And 99% of the time, I'm come home and I'm elated. The lesson went really well, you know. So I think I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah.
In many ways, and I think there's an element of running a business where you kind of have to eternally be checking yourself and worried that is it good enough, because you're always you are your own, especially when you're you're your own sort of, what's the word, quality control.
Okay.
I guess quality assessor. So if you become complacent and it does start to drop off, people aren't going to book you. So you have to make sure you're always doing a good job and people were happy, they enjoyed, they learned, you know.
I can imagine it's super rewarding though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like on a daily basis when you're teaching kids and they manage to like land that trick or whatever.
I had just a great session earlier on in a school. None of the kids could skate. There was 9 kids. They, some of them could ride the board on the floor. Okay, most of them couldn't. So we just focused on that. Everyone was riding. Then we learned steering. Then we learned a few tricks, easy tricks, fun stuff. And then they learned how to go up and down a ramp. Yeah. And they were buzzing. They were so happy. They're busting for next week, Yeah. So like, it's just like, I take that now. That little glowing feeling remains with me through the day, I suppose, until I go to, I'm sort of satisfied for the day now. I almost feel nourished by having done a good job. Like, and I think I'm a little bit addicted to that satisfaction of, I'm a little bit more of a workaholic than I was before.
Yeah, well,
even though at the same time I'm still like, it's winter and I don't want to do anything. But yeah, paradox.
Yeah, what you said earlier when you were saying, like, in the summer, your job is just manic because, you're trying to get in all those hours in such a short period of time. And I suppose even when you got like private lessons and that after your group sessions, you're running around a bit like a headless chicken.
Yeah, that does get a bit hard. And I find myself in the 6 weeks holidays, I find myself by about week 4, I've no longer got that spark in my energy of like enthusiasm. It's almost like mechanical, robotic coaching, which is something I've noticed in the past. And I don't. It's natural when you're that tired and worn out, and you're kind of teaching. You're doing long days every day. Yeah, I guess a bit. So I'm hoping this year to kind of just, like, the comparison between year 1 and year 2 was that I kind of balanced things out a little bit and did a little bit less in the summer. And I'm thinking for year 3, which is this year, summer, I'm hoping to do even slightly less again. Just slowly turn the dial down, because I know I don't really need to do as much as I normally do. When someone rings you and says, can you do this hour and you could squeeze it in, I'm a bit of a, like, you can't say no to work, right? So you do it. And I'll fundamentally, ultimately love what I do. So
one of the questions I was going to ask you was about what your advice is to young skaters, but what would your advice be of someone who wants to make a bit of a career with skating, not necessarily just like in a professional manner?
Yeah,
I mean, to teach.
Like, well, there's coaching, like what I'm doing. There's so many different jobs within skateboarding, like, as I've kind of, I don't know loads and loads of people involved in the industry side of skateboarding, but I know that side of skateboarding exists. So like, there's people who work in distribution, everything you buy in a skateboard shop had to come from somewhere. So someone manufactured it, then someone had to distribute it, then a warehouse stocks it, then the warehouse has staff in it who take orders and emails from the shops around the country, and then so they have to send a box full of skateboards to the shop in your town, and then someone works in that shop in your town to sell you that skateboard. So along the chain, there's companies and different businesses involved at every level, and you can be involved in any of that. There's photographers and videographers that make kind of like all the videos and promotions. Magazines need photos, right? So there's got to be a photographer, there's got to be writers and editors for magazines, there's got to be brand managers. There's like so many jobs. Obviously there's things like being pro as well, a professional skateboarder. If you're good enough and you're lucky enough to be that talented, then do it. Like, I can't imagine anything better. And then there's coaching, like I guess that's my niche in this area. I've got my own little twist on it, I suppose. But yeah, there's coaching. If people want to learn how to coach, I guess it starts with just helping people at your local skate park, help them learn to understand how to break tricks down and how to communicate with people so that people of all ages could understand you, you know. You need to almost teach it like as if you're teaching a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Like simplest instructions ever kind of thing. And then, yeah, at least in the UK, there's kind of like qualifications you can do, like a level, so if it's like a level 1, it's like the basic introduction to coaching, which is what I've got. And just, I guess you just got to kind of like find out a way of promoting, you know. You could kind of post advertisements on, you could do it online, you could put posters in the skate shop, you could stick posters on the skate park, and people might ring, people might send you a message and book you in, you know. But you just got to go and try it. Like, I think that's my advice for people generally in business is like, if you want to do something or you want a career, like the only person who can make it happen is you. So you've got to like, if you want that to happen, you've got to like just go for it. Like, what have you got to lose? It's just people just don't book you. It hurts your pride a bit, but like, you didn't, you know, hopefully you didn't spend too much money, right? You didn't lose money on it. You just sort of had to go. It could really pay off, you know. So
have you accumulated your gear like over time, or did you, when you first started the company, did you just go for it? And
I had to buy a certain amount. I mean, I got helped by some of the distributions, like Shiner, which is a distribution. They sent me like a good, I think they sent me about 5 or 6 boards. They sent me a load of helmets and stuff, and then I bought like, I sort of doubled, a bit more than doubled my gear, and I started off with my car. I started off with what I had, plus some gear that I'd been, you know, kindly gifted. I did ask them for it again. I just went for it and I emailed them and said, can you help me? And they did send me some gear. I used some of my money to buy this gear, thinking, well, you know, it's a fair whack of money, but like, even if I just do the odd couple of lessons, it should be kind of paid off, as long as I'm doing big jobs, you know. So even if I just take a few bookings, it's kind of paid itself off and I've lost nothing. Kind of, that was my attitude. I started off with my car. I didn't buy a van straight away.
I can remember seeing you in your car with it, actually, because you had like the ramp in the back of it and everything.
Oh wow,
didn't you? You fit like the ramp, all the skateboarding gear, like, you know.
It was a squeeze, right? But like, and that's how I turned up to jobs for ages, you know. And I didn't have, I just, you know, and I'm lucky. I've kind of been cheeky enough, I suppose, to like ask. The guy who's, the ramps I've got is a company run by a company, Rolling Co, Dave, and like I messaged Rolling Co, Dave, and I said, can you help me out? Like I do a lot with kids all across the sort of South Wales area. Is there any chance you could help me out with a ramp or discount or whatever? And he just said like, yeah, like you can pay for postage, but I'll send you a ramp. And then like I've had a good relationship with him. I bought another ramp off him, like a cost price, so he just paid for material cost and stuff. But like, you know, I've been a bit, I guess, kind of like cheeky, outgoing with it. I've been kind of like trying to, you know, it's a business relationship really, isn't it? It helps him because I've had kids now in my lessons who've bought mini ramps off him and ramps off him, so he's, you know, he's made his money back. And I
think that you have networked very well, even with all your online content.
Yeah.
It just draws more people, doesn't it?
I spoke to the teacher today in the school and I said like, how did you find out about me? And she just said, Twitter.
Yeah.
And like, I post something on Twitter, like it's really funny. Instagram, you can post something and you can get like, well, let's go with it. TikTok first. TikTok, you can post something, you might get, I've got a video on TikTok, it's got like 250,000 views. But I got no custom from that at all because it's people from Hong Kong, Australia, Mexico, UK, America. They're not going to book me for a lesson. They live too far away. You post them on Instagram, you might get 100 likes. These are numbers on my level right now.
Yeah.
You might get 100 likes. That's a good post, right? Again, there's not much. I don't get much business out of that. Twitter, I post something, it gets 2 reshares, 6 likes. And a school contacts me the next day saying, hi, we saw you on Twitter. So Twitter's gold to me.
Yeah.
Because that's where my demographic is like corporation, you know, schools and councils. Like mums and dads and parents live on Facebook. That's what I found. The kids themselves live on Instagram and TikTok. So yeah, I've just sort of worked out what... And I just got a pattern. I just make one post and post it on all of them. So I'm hitting you know, the kids get to see my content because it's on Instagram and TikTok, but it goes to Twitter as well, and hopefully someone will book me for their school or something. So I kind of just make one video and just copy and paste the same tag and post the same content. But I'm a bit relentless. I almost like slap my content in people's faces, really. If I do 3 jobs in that day, I will make 3 posts about each job, because it's a chance to tag the school.
Yeah.
And that school might be in this county, so I'll tag that county. But then this second school, I'll tag that school, but I'll also tag that county and their sports team. So I'm getting through 3 jobs, I might tag like 8 people, 8 organisations. It's just about visibility then, making sure you're always visible. So then when it comes to time that they've got...
You have to be relentless of it, don't you?
You
have to be relentless of it.
Yeah. And I think, and that's my attitude, is like, you make it work for yourself. You can't just expect stuff to fall on your lap. Like, sadly, like it would be nice, wouldn't it? But the world doesn't work like that. Like, you gotta kind of keep cranking that wheel and keep turning it, So,
because you're coming at it from a different angle, where you're going out to schools, you're teaching kids, you're taking people to local skate parks and things, and getting all the lessons going. What has your response been from like the skating community itself, rather than from parents who want to teach their kids?
Yeah, I think people are really excited about the fact that like, and well, they're excited about seeing that there's actually finally like people are embracing skateboarding. Kids, the younger generations are like interested again. It's nice to see, right? You don't kind of want to be part of this dinosaur kind of sport where it's just all dying off. It's nice to see that there's like kids are interested, and the kids they're really good at it, and it's just really cool to see new blood, I suppose. And then people have just been really supportive, and people say, rightly so, it would have been amazing if we had this as when we were, it's nice to see people are glad that I'm doing it, and there's obviously other coaching going on as well. But we didn't have anything like that when we were kids. We just worked it out, like falling over, and some kid up the street had half an idea about how this trick works, and the sort of the rumours spread.
You didn't have tutorials or anything back then.
We did have that trick, Tony Hawk's Trick Tips. I had a VHS of Tony Hawk's Trick Tips. That was really good.
I had Tony Hawk's Underground on the PS2, mate. That's crazy.
I had the games. I had the PS2 games, and I had Trick Tips, the VHS, which I would watch like religiously, really. Most skaters, when they talk about videos, they watched like the brand videos showing the best skating. I watched Trick Tips quite a lot because I was just so busting to learn these things. But yeah, so I think overall the skateboarding community's been really like positive about it.
That's great though, isn't it?
Yeah,
because it could go one or two ways. Because I suppose you never know, you could even get like a bit of jealousy there.
Yeah, I don't really want to touch on too much. I think there's been a little, like, there's been some stuff, but like, I'm not gonna let that like
100%
define. And I'm trying to like ignore those elements of it.
Yeah,
like there's always gonna be people who are like, wonder what, like, why do you deserve stuff? But it's like, well, because I worked really hard.
100%.
Because I'm grinding, cranking that wheel. But yeah, I think on the whole, people are just like, coaching, banging. Like, you've got, hundreds of kids. Well, I teach thousands of kids a year, and hopefully a couple of hundred are interested in skateboarding after their experience. Like, I don't know. I would like to think that 100 kids buy a board every year because of me. Yeah. Which,
well, I'm not.
If there's any board manufacturers out there who want me to have like a discount code on their website, get in touch. But like, I don't know, it's cool. The kids are often like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna get a skateboard for Christmas. I can't wait. I'm gonna ask my mum for a skateboard. Like.
Well, you made this big kid buy one again, didn't you?
I did.
I haven't even taken that out yet.
Like, and I realise not all. Some of the skateboards are just gonna go in the shed and it'll be forgotten. But some of those kids will just love it. It'll just click with them, like it clicked with me, and it'll be their obsession. It'll do as much for them as it has for me in my life. Like, for me in my life, skateboarding has been an insane kind of thing for me to have at the best of times, at the worst of times. Like, it's been something that I've always loved.
Do you have any skaters that you follow? For inspiration and things like that?
The whole industry, really. I don't have my finger really on the pulse as much as I maybe did the past few years. I'm kind of more busy now. But like, I just sort of watch like Thrasher stuff on YouTube, and when the big American hitters stick out a new video, I'll probably watch it. But skateboarding is like beyond relatability at this point I would say it's kind of gone beyond tricks where you can understand. I feel like when we were young, it was like, kickflip into a grind. Okay, that's pretty technical. Now it's like flip rotation into a very hard grind, flip rotation out. So it's like multiple things going on in one trick, and most of us don't even comprehend one element of that, let alone the whole. So yeah, skateboarding is really crazy right now.
Do you have any advice to youngsters that are thinking about getting into it or that are skating currently?
Yeah, like, so my general thoughts on like skateboarding is that like fundamentally it's about fun, and fundamentally it's about enjoying skateboarding. It's not about being, of course learning tricks is fun, so if learning tricks is how you have fun, then learn tricks. Like, I love learning tricks and I get such a buzz of learning tricks, but I think there's a lot of pressure kids have now, especially with how visible stuff is. They really want to jump to the highest level straight away, and it actually can sometimes, there's a risk of turning it into a negative where I'm not good enough, I need to be better, or I wish I could hard flip on my second month of skateboarding or whatever. And it's like, my advice is enjoy it. Like, connect with your friends, go skating, go skate everything, take all the opportunities to go skate different terrain, different obstacles, different skate parks. But yeah, like, I love skateboarding for the tricks, but I love it for the fact that it's just good for you, your soul. It's good for like the community and you as an individual, like your health, your well-being, so enjoy it. Just enjoy it. That's my advice. If you enjoy it, you're going to enjoy it and carry on, and you're going to get good anyway.
Just over
that's
time.
It. Just spend the time, and the best way to spend your time is if you like it.
100%.
So yeah.
Do you where do you actually see Skateboard Academy in the future, or have you not thought that too far ahead?
I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't even have a 6-month plan, Ethan.
Yeah.
So we were discussing before we started recording, like, how I'm a bit paranoid. Like, I'm like always got this kind of feeling that it's gonna crumble. Not always, but like there's a recurring thought, not crumble, but it's gonna go. It's gonna start to drop. How in the interest and the demand. So I think I just want to make it through this summer again. If I make it past the summer again, I'll breathe a sigh of relief and go, cool, it still exists, we're still going, cool. And then I'll probably chill until winter, and then I'll hit about January again, and I'll go, oh my god, summer's approaching, it better be good. I think I go through this cycle. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm still adjusting to what it is now. So I think I just, at the moment, I'm like, well, if I can just maintain this,
happy days.
I don't even have like projections of like upwards, like, I would like to do more jobs. Like, I've got another coach working for me, Kev. Kev's amazing. So like I would like it if like we just had more, he had more jobs going on, like, and then as a business we're doing more because there's 2 of us. That would be a good way of like curving it up. I mean, there's ideas around opening a skate park and stuff, but that's really difficult because of like, it's pretty expensive, it's hard, like, it's a lot of, rent and taxes and stuff is like crazy on running skate parks, and then it's also a very tough business to run, to like actually make it float. It's very hard. So I'm kind of like very, very cautious of going down that line. That does seem almost the most organic, like natural thing I could do is like open a skate park in the valleys where there isn't a skate park yet. But yeah, I think I'm kind of like, what I'm doing is working right now. I don't want to like change what's working. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep.
Would you have would you have changed anything from when you first started doing Skateboarding Academy to what you are now? Do you have anything where you're like, oh, I could have done that better, or you think it's been a pretty smooth ride?
I feel really blessed. Like, honestly, I feel fortunate. I don't know. I don't have anything where I'm like, I feel lucky. I feel like I kind of just worked pretty quickly. Like, I realised it wasn't, in hindsight, like, it wasn't actually quick. I put a hell of a lot of work into, like, cold emailing, like, forget your pride, forget your ego. You're going to get ignored by 98% of people you email. You're still going to email more people. Email every school, every council, post the post, I don't regret any of that. I failed stuff, but it wasn't failure. It was just I got ignored on an email, or someone said they didn't want to buy my lessons or whatever. It wasn't failure. It was just a lack of success.
I think
it's a weird flip on the words.
I feel like that's pretty good life advice in general. You know, if you want to do something, you've really got to take those extra steps to push yourself to try and reach out to as many people as you can.
I'm really in like I said earlier, like for me, half of my love for this is business as well. I didn't even know I liked business. I've never run a business. I've never been involved in a business. I've worked for like local government, which is non-profit. You know, it's just a service. I've never run an actual business. I love it. And that's my advice to people when people tell me they got ideas around, you know, whatever it is they may want to do. I'm like, you got to go out and just do it. Like, because I think a lot of people just try something once, and this goes for skateboarding. They try a trick once or twice or 3 times and then go, can't do it. People have an idea around a career or applying for a job or starting a business or something. And, you know, sometimes they convince themselves before they've even tried that it's not going to work. And sometimes they try once and it didn't work. But sometimes things take more tries. So I guess the truth is it didn't just work quickly, like I said a few minutes ago. I've sent thousands of emails, like shamelessly self-promoting what I'm trying to sell to people, you know, trying to get them to book me. And I've added, like, you know, I probably got like less than a 5% return on my efforts as far as bookings based on emails, but like I just didn't care. I was like, well, as long as it works in the end. So yeah, relentlessness, just whatever.
I think it has worked out for you though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's worked out now. Yeah, it's worked out now. But
no, it's good to see though, mate. Like, you know, moving back down to this area and seeing someone I hadn't spoken to in, I don't know, would it have been about 8 years or something like that? I think we
don't even know.
Yeah,
it feels like long.
I think we were using like Bebo or something stupid at the time.
I don't know. We've just interacted periodically over. I haven't really seen you since we were about 10.
Yeah.
So
proper youngsters.
We're talking more like 20 years, mate. But yeah.
To be fair, yeah, it's been a while, but really appreciate you coming on for this first little podcast, though, Sam.
Thank you, Ethan.
I was banging. I think you covered quite a few little bits and bobs there. And
thank you. Some golden nuggets there, hopefully. Yeah. But yeah, good luck with the podcast. And
sound. Yeah. And if anyone does actually want to follow Sam, I will link his YouTube channel and TikTok, even though I'm not a massive fan of it. I'll link it all there in the description for you to follow.
Thank you, bud. Nice one.
But yeah,
cheers, Ethan.
Cheers, Sam.
Nice one, bud.
Class.
Right,
thanks,
nice
mate.
one.
See you later. Get off.
Ciao.